Welcome back. I don't know how to start this, but anyway, welcome back with a brand new webisode, Morphin Gray case study episode. Oh yeah, wait. You know what I mean? I was just starting up, getting warmed up. What I have to say, what character I'm going to do a case study of, and last month we just did one of my favorite female villains from Power Rangers. This month and this week I'm doing another Power Rangers Lost Galaxy villain that I wanted to resurrect for the fan film reboot of the Power Ranger show. I'm doing a movie of coming soon in 2 years. Today's Power Rangers Lost Galaxy villain I'm covering is Deviot, um, who well um, I have three different versions of the character that I created out of poster board, and just like all the other characters that I've also crafted and cut out and put together, I had to do this guy. And Deviat, alongside, he's also my second favorite villain from the series that I also wanted to bring into the film. And this is some of my custom concept art that I created and drew when I thought about the character. And I know he's not really very much of a very least appealing character in the series, but he was my favorite. This was going to be a comic book cover of a well, this is all fan fiction. I used to do. I never told any of you guys this, but I used to do comic books based on Power Rangers when I was a kid. I used to create my own homemade comic books of these guys when I was like 7 years old, 8 years old, up until I was like 12 years old. By the time when I started getting into, by the time when I started being fascinated into making movies, and more importantly making this Power Rangers movie, I stopped doing comic books recently. And I, my because I used to do comic books, but I never really published any of my artwork. I've showed some artwork of these Power Rangers to my dad many times, but he kept telling me to stop drawing Lost Galaxy so much, while these other Power Rangers were still going on. So I stopped drawing them, much likely, and decided to draw something else. This is something that I did during the 10th anniversary of the season, and of course I knew I drew the Disney and Hasbro logos since unfortunately since Disney is no longer involved with Power Rangers. This was way back in 2009 during the RPM season, and so anyway, let's start with the original model of the character. So I'm going to have to take the two additional versions of the character out of the way and focus on Deviat version 1, the original. Okay, now I know this is not Deviat's actual body. This is just a custom. Um, at least I got his head, but rest of his body is mainly but the rest of his body is mainly Megatron's from Transformers Animated, but that was an action figure of that Megatron from that Transformers cartoon that I really dislike, because Transformers Animated is very childish and very immature, and it was just, I never really liked that series. It was just not what I thought it was. And well, I get very nervous and very camera fright, and when I'm like behind the camera and in front of the camera, it's like I'm afraid to say something, to describe something, and well, that's how I am. And I get camera fright and I get stage fright. I get nervous of what I want to say, and in order for people to get appealed by what I have to offer and what I have in store, non-legit, non-profit, because this movie I'm not doing for money or any promotion, anything worth promotional. This is all make believe, and I made this Deviot puppet back in 2010, the summer of 2000, or was it when I started working on Power Rangers LG, The Rise of Trakina from 2010 when production was starting on. In the past, but when I started wanted to do the film for real, after 7 years of development, 7 to 8 years of development, I had an original Deviot cutout puppet that I created when I started making paper puppets like these. But my dad threw every single one of the puppets away that I created because he wanted me to grow up saying that 18-year-old, 19-year-old boys don't play with paper dolls and stuff. And I said to myself, fuck you. Excuse me for saying that, but I shouldn't talk about my dad like that all the time because, it's wrong of me to talk about your parents like that. Talk about my one and only parent like that while the other one is, deceased after it's been 11 years. And it's obvious that November was the month my mom passed away. So, well, the only part of Deviot that I kept was the actual chest, head, and shoulder parts, while the rest is mainly Transformers Megatron parts. Because when I was printing out pictures of when I was trying to print out a full scale photo of his body, of Deviot's real body from the Japanese version of Power Rangers Lost Galaxy, which is obviously Ginga Man and list goes on. When I was printing out his body, when I wanted to print out his entire body, the picture was too small, and I couldn't hardly see his arms and legs very well, because the pictures that you find off the TV screen were so small, and when you're adding photos of that character on Power Rangers wiki sites and stuff, fan sites, the pictures come out very small, like the size of this 16:9 ratio of the camera of the video I'm shooting right now. So in that far scope, because you can't hardly see his body, you can hardly see his face, but not his body all the way very well. So and on the other side, half an hour ago, I decided. Well, in the beginning, Deviot, he didn't even hardly move, but at least I get to move his arm a bit. But I'm going to have to add a paper fastener to move his arms later on soon, starting the beginning of the production of this reboot. But anyway, half an hour ago, I just applied some paper fasteners to his legs so he can move. For cable wires, I used old shoelaces, but that's not going to be enough. I'm going to need more shoelaces later on if I get the chance to find any old shoelaces.